making your bones to prove yourself or earn your place by completing a task, paying your dues and establishing yourself in the field over time, gaining respect and building a legacy by proving your loyalty, courage, and value to an individual, organization, or community. City Yonkers own DJ Lenny Santowasso. This is Making Your Bones, the stories of hustle, respect, and how they became a boss. A podcast by ZazRadio.com. Episode 5. Everyone has a story. What is yours? If you're interested, guy or gal, like to share your product, business story to the world, send us an email, zazradio@gmail.com. We'll review it and get back to you, and maybe you too will be interviewed by yours truly and get blasted out to hundreds, thousands of potential customers, followers in the very near future. Hello, USA and the world, freestyle and entire music community. Let me introduce you to a dear friend. First and foremost, someone I know over 35 years. He is truly a class act and a gentleman. In fact, my fiance Shannon surprised me with a performance, a phenomenal performance by him for my 52nd birthday at our house. DJ, dance floor, and the works. His real name is Anthony Annunziata. Maybe the smash hits. Here we go. He launched his career in the late 1980s, signing with Micmac Records. His breakout 1988 single, Wonderin', became a freestyle and Latin dance classic of the era, quickly becoming a summer favorite. And on KTU, Games of Love in 1989, it gained heavy rotation on radio stations like Hot 97 FM, 103.5 KTU, and Power 96 in Miami. The track climbed mainstream all the way to the charts, including the KC Kasem Top 40 Countdown. Two other smash hits, Tears of Tears and It Must Be Love. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You guessed it correctly. Your friend, my friend, say hello to the legendary freestyle artist, Tonasia. Say what's up, everyone.
What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
So thank you so much, Tony. Tonasia, I appreciate the interview. You are the man.
You're welcome.
Tell us how this happened. Build it up from a kid. How old were you when you started in the business and singing? And basically noticed you have this gift, which is an amazing gift, because you got some voice on your mouth off the me.
I can thank my mother for that. I loved music from a very young age. Since I can remember, my mother sang from the minute she got up to the minute she went to bed at night. She had all the old Italian Neapolitan songs on all the time. And then the classics, Perry Como, Jerry Vale, Jimmy Vasselli, Jerry, all these, Connie Francis, all these beautiful hits. And so I listened to her and I would look at her like, wow, wow. So I had this little 45. I used to play Archie's all the time and all these little songs, Sugar, Sugar, all, the little things. And then we also had 8 tracks back in those days. I don't want to age myself. 8 tracks. We had this, the big stereo thing that you had, the 8 tracks, the 45, yeah. So we used to play it all the time. She was like, put this one on, put this one on. So I would go and stick it into the thing and she starts singing and dancing around the house. And so then I started singing with her and she was like, what? What's going on here? So she started singing that I had a voice and she was like, okay. And my mother was also a musician. She plays piano. So she watched her play and she was teaching me little things and I just took it to the next level. But we've been, once I started doing that, I started singing at the parties. I started doing little things here and there, little skits for my family. Sunday, everybody would come over, and Lawrence Welk was a big thing in my house. And my mother loved Lawrence Welk, the Lennon sisters, and Joanne Castle with the way she played the piano. All these people. Now I'm really aging myself, and I still love the show to this day. But that's just, it's just a little bit. I mean, I was very fortunate. I grew up in the Bronx, surrounded by love, music, and that's all I know. My house was filled with music and good food.
Listen, well, That's without saying. Food, definitely, you know that. And then you mentioned Sunday, so we know how that works. You know what I'm saying?
Sunday, my grandmother would come over, my aunts would come over, our uncles,
Yeah.
cousins. We always hang out. You know, it was a lot of fun. It was a great
In
time.
an Italian American household, as a kid, you would smell the meatballs and the sauce and the gravy,
Uh,
whatever you want to call it. And
that started at 5 o'clock in the morning. She'd get up and she'd start making her sauce. Then she'd go,
yeah,
"Hey, get up, lazy, get up, go
yeah,
outside and get me fresh basil. Go get me the tomatoes. Get me this because everything was in our garden. We raised it. You know, we grew everything fresh.
yeah.
And she had these big coconuts hanging from the grapevine in the back. And my father made his own wine, limoncello. You know, it was
The
an amazing time.
Bazinogol, everything's
The Basiligal was there and everything else. Yeah, the
so,
pepperoncini were there and all types of stuff.
oh, it used to be my cousins and I, and we're like, listen, who's going next? I'm not going to steal the meatballs.
Well,
You,
we couldn't touch it
what a spoon.
until we came home from church. We were not allowed to touch it. So after we came home from church, then you can have the meatballs.
Listen to what I tell you. I touched it and I got it. I got it. I got the wooden spoon.
I still have her wooden spoon that actually my father made for her, which is like
Uh,
huge. And she used to know when we used to can the tomatoes. So I made the spoon we used to turn the pot with, and
as big
oh
as
my
the
god,
cagoots.
yeah,
That big. Oh man.
well, it was great times, man.
You
Yeah,
know
great
what?
memories.
That's it. When you think about it, it's just amazing memories. And I don't know if she's still here, but if she's not, God bless. God rest her
No, both
soul.
of my parents are gone.
God rest their souls. And but it's just even our grandparents. Just amazing what we went through as Italian American kids. To appreciate and respect. You know, what we grew up with. And the
Well,
music was a huge part of it.
she made sure that in our house, even though they never spoke English, they always spoke Italian, our
Okay.
dialect, and
What
so I
dialect?
grew up
Napoli-
Neapolitan, Sarnese, but it's they're close to like Napolitan, and
Mhm.
and so she always drilled into us the culture. Don't forget how to do this. So people don't know. I know I know you want to ask me this later on, but I make homemade pastas. I bake everything that she did. I know how to do stuffed breads,
Oh,
luginat. I mean the struffolies, whatever you name it. I could whip it up and put it together. She made sure that she made me self sufficient. She didn't want me to depend on anybody else. She wanted me. She taught me how to cook, clean, sew, make stuff. That's why I can make clothes. I that's another thing that I do that people don't even know. Um, they're both my father and her are very talented, so I kind of like took everything I can from them. And they always said she used to have a saying, "Bar dell'arte, metterla apart." So learn your art and put it to the side. So one day you never know you're gonna need it. It'll be there for you.
I really truly believe that we all have gifts, but some more than others. And so you said, listen, you have this gift of music, your voice. You could sew. I tell you straight out, I can't even iron. I
No,
can't even iron.
some
Oh,
people I know. Well, she told me that I am very well,
yeah, let
but
me tell you.
I sometimes feel guilty. It's like God has blessed me with so many talents, and I try to
Yeah,
utilize them every day as much as I can and share them with people. And then we'll get to that part later on. But
yeah. Listen, it's a beautiful thing. So let's talk about how old were you when this happened. See, in our household, it was the oldies, and it was the Perry Como, the D Martin, the
the,
Frank Sinatra, but it was also Joe Dolce, Shut Up in Your Face, you know what I mean?
oh yeah, all
Uh, yeah.
those were in my house all the time. Those songs,
So, and then of course, as you well know, around holiday time,
Dominic the Donkey,
Donkey, uh, Peppino
Chili
Zutugil,
Tiki, is Dominic the Donkey.
Peppino Zutugil, Italian Mouse.
My
Oh,
mother, so I still have her Pepino Surigilo. It's a little doll that she brought from Italy. I still have him.
really?
And he's still dressed with the little Italian thing, the suitcase. So cute. It's about to, I have him in the china closet. She
I'm
loved
gonna
that thing.
I'm gonna
And
share it.
yeah, it was somebody else. What was this? There was another. It's Christmas at our house. The door is open wide. I don't know who sang that. What was his name?
I don't
Na,
know.
na, 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 na. The tip of my tongue. I can't think of his name right
You'll
now.
remember it.
I can't think.
You freak hit your head on that pillow. You're like, oh, that was it.
I
So
had so many.
how old were you when you were doing this? Now your mother played piano for how long and she was singing? So did she do it professionally or?
She played for, not she played everywhere she played, but she played for more for herself. She wasn't
Yeah,
really. It ended up like me. I played, but I didn't know I was gonna take it to this
level.
level. You
Yeah,
do things, and you have a dream, and you're like, oh, you don't know if you never know it's gonna come true. You never think that you just do it because of the love you have of it. And
exactly.
so I used to play and sing all the time, and I played the piano all the time, and one thing led to another. I used to go play in the nursing homes, lobbies of hospitals and things like that, and I would see the reaction that I got from the people, and I said, "Wow, there's something here because it's really affecting them in a different way."
Mm,
And later on in my life, then I covered a program for a friend of mine who was in a nursing home. He's like, "Listen, can you come in and play the piano for an hour?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem, Mike. I'll come and hang out." So
mm,
I played the piano. I was doing that, and then from there, my music therapy thing took off without even me knowing what I do. Because I didn't go to college for that. I went to college for business administration, bookkeeping,
yeah.
accounting, all that stuff. So I played the thing, and there was a doctor looking at me. He's no longer with us. His name was Dr. Oliver Sacks, and he was an incredible musician. And Connie Tomei, who was another incredible doctor in her own right and musician. And so that led to a part-time job at a nursing home in White Plains.
Wow.
And then from that led to nursing home in the Bronx where I lived. And that I stayed there for many years until everything started changing up in my life. And I did music therapy, I did recreational therapy, and I saw the effect it had on people because music has power. And it was this whole thing that they created: music has power in minds, and if you have certain things, the music heals you. If you're out, I ran a rehab unit, and I could see like you're redirecting the pain of people with the music. So they're
Therapy.
focusing on the music. You can
Yeah,
have dementia, Alzheimer's, but you forget how to feed yourself and everything, but you won't forget the music because your brain is right sphere, left sphere. You use the right sphere. And I remember every word. It's very, I mean, it's
therapeutic.
interesting, and it's a
Yeah.
gift. It's a gift that I have that I can do with people. Like, people will not know who they are. And like, I have a family come to me, goes, mommy doesn't remember who I am. So what's the point of you me coming here visiting her? And I'm
Oh,
like, no, 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 no,
don't say
don't do.
that.
Let's not go there. I
Yeah.
said, your mother had a favorite song, so I would get on the piano and play it. She comes to life, and that minute, the mind, I get her back. The window opens up. She could be there for 30 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever. But in that time frame, guess what? Hey, Concetta, what are you doing here? Recognizes her daughter. Her daughter's like, what? So she's out of that. They're still in there. It's just that the whole thing with uh, Dr. Oliver Sack was the one that did that Awakening movie that was done originally at Beth Abraham in the Bronx. That's the hospital I worked at.
Oh, wow.
So going way back, because that
Yeah.
place is over 100 years old. And
Wow.
then Robert, Williams did the new one of it.
Yes, yes.
But he's the original doctor that, because now music therapy is more respected. Back then, it wasn't even looked upon; it was frowned upon. Like, what's that?
So it's funny you say that because I interviewed a gentleman, and I'll tell you what, he used Chef Rocco Capitola out of the Bronx, and he used, guess what, food in a therapy
Oh,
for
sensory stimulation, the
seniors.
smells.
So yeah, so to me, there's such uh, a connection there, where he's from Italy, Abruzzi. So I was like, wow. So when you mentioned that, I'm like, there you go. So it's a
Oh no, it's
connection with
connected because the sensory stimulation, even with different creams and oils, the
yeah.
sense of the smells. I had one lady that loved Hershey. She worked for the Hershey company for many years,
Oh,
and so she loved the smell of the chocolate. So I got her bars, and it's like she, eyes lit up. She's like, she remembered the smell. So it's a that's whole sensory. It has all to do with that.
it's so funny because I always said to myself, if I had another gift, what would it be? And I think to myself, has to be a singer. you know, uh, or an artist or an actual artist. It's either a single artist, but I would say a singer definitely because you could move. I mean, art. Being an artist is different, but being a singer is just so an emotional thing. It's
Oh,
so it really hits you. So let's get let's get into emotions, and that is talk to me about Micmac and these smash hits. How did this happen? How did this happen for you? You're a kid in the
Well,
Bronx.
I grew up in the Bronx, so you
Yeah,
know a lot of these artists are from the Bronx. I
yeah.
was a lot of good friends with original cover girl Angel. She
Okay.
was my girl from India, a whole bunch of other people. I mean, there's so many that we always
Where in
wanted
the
to sing.
Bronx, Tony? Where in the Bronx? Country Club, Art Avenue.
Me?
Yeah,
No, so I was off of, well, different parts of the Bronx, but the last part was Allenton Avenue.
Allerton. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
not more for like not far from Eastchester Road. Arno Avenue was I was between Arno and Allenton.
okay.
So like on Allenton, off of,
So
So and
let's go back. Let's go back. When you're doing this with your mom, how old are you? 15, 13, 12?
no, I started. Yeah, I was like 9, 10 years old.
All right, so you're 9, 10.
On the piano, I started 9, 10 years old. But
10.
singing, I started from when I was little, like
So
six,
now
7.
here you are on the block, right? Or you're hanging out at clubs, people noticing you. You're starting to make connections, and how old are you now?
Well, no. Well, first I went to from when the breakdance scene came on. I
Oh,
was like, my friends and I would have linoleum on the street, and we have the
yes,
boom
yes.
box, and we're breakdancing on street corners. I really believe that there is no thing as a small stage. Every corner is an opportunity.
Yeah,
So we used to do, to dance, and I would do like a little singing and stuff, and then
yeah.
I'd play handball. I would stop and hear the song and start jumping around and dancing and singing. I was very much into fame at that time,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so that was a big thing that
Irene
kind of
Cara, yeah.
catapulted me. And then my high school, Columbus High School, was like a little fame thing because I got into the chorus, the choir,
Yeah.
dancing, music, all that stuff that had to do with what I wanted to do because I knew this is what I wanted to do eventually
Mm,
when I came out, and I had the full support of my parents. My father bought me my first Juno 106 keyboard. I used to play one, and I created a whole band. I was in high school when all this started coming together for me,
wow.
and I wrote Wondering in study hall. I used to tell people I want to make a record. I'm gonna make a record. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then Angel got her deal with Show Me, and so when I was in high school, that was still go. It was pumping, pumping. Everyone was like, look, my friend made a record. I'll make a record too. And so they were like, what? So when I started singing the songs, like, what is that? What is that? I was like, it's the record I'm writing. This is going to be my song. So they didn't believe me. But one thing led to another. I didn't know at that time, right up the block from where I lived, Owen Sober was right up the block. I didn't know he lived there. He didn't know where I lived. We met at the bodega down at the corner. And over there, he heard me sing. He's like, "You sing?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I'm looking to produce." And so one thing led to another. We went to a studio in Astoria, Queens called Libra Digital, and boom, we did the demo. Um, we worked on it, worked on it, worked on it, and the first person that ever played, unfortunately, he just passed away, was DJ Mad Wayne.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in Skate Key, and so we would
Oh,
bring the
oh, yeah.
demo there to see, and it was just like the drum beat and the vocals, and it was just like look, it was just ideas that we had, and it's like, yo, this is gonna be this is gonna be a hit, and so we started playing it, and then my first show was at La Mirage on Kingsbridge and Fordham Road.
Wow. You're
I
going
think
back.
that just was 301 East Kingsbridge off of Fordham Road. I
You're
think.
going back.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm trying to throw a lot of things at once, and
I
then
love it.
it was just like everything just fell into place, and it just timing, divine timing, and manifesting up here what you want and
Yeah.
putting it out there to the universe. And you really have to, back then you're still young, you're innocent, you don't know what you can and can't do, so you just you go for it, and without anybody saying no, 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 you're still gonna do it because you have this, you just feel it that this is what you want to do, and it just came together for me. Before I signed with Micmac, we were running around, we was doing different, record pools and things like that so people could hear it, get a feedback on it. Close friends of mine, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a great song. We love it, we love it. So once we did so Micmac was the second label because Atlantic Records wanted to sign me, but there was a waiting list, and I didn't feel like waiting a year or whatever it was. So Owen was like, "Well, Micmac's interested in it. Let's take it to them and let's see, get it out." And they loved it. We went back in the studio, we finished it. Then we went to back then you had to work for this. It wasn't like today. You push a button and these iTunes. I'm not tech savvy with all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have to go banging on people's doors, and
Yep,
go to
demos.
record pools, and you have to go to clubs. And so RBPC, Eddie Rivera, God rest his soul. We went there, and back then they would play the demo in front of a panel of DJs. Little Louis Vega, Jelly Bean Benitez, all these all Latin Rascal, all these big name DJs, and they would have a paper and they would sign off on it. Fix this, change this, take this out, do this, and you would go back into the studio, redo it, come back, hear it, go back to the studio, redo it, and when it was ready, they were like, okay, you're on in 2 weeks, get your shit together because you're performing in front of the whole thing, and then from there you would go and your career would take off. But it's not without going to also all the clubs with your records and go to all the DJs. Hey, here's my new song. Can you listen to it? If you like it, can you please play it when you have a chance? Some of them would throw it on right there and then and see what the crowd's reaction was. And some of them would take it home and listen to it, whatever. But you had to hustle. You had to really get out there and hit the pavement and work. And, you know, Owen, if it wasn't for Owen, I wouldn't be here because Owen was the one that believed. He was the one that stuck his hand in his pocket and took me to the studio, and paid for everything to get it done or whatever. And so we went Friday nights, hit all the clubs, Saturday nights, hit all the clubs. And then, when we went to Avanti, he met Michael Schweiger. Michael Schweiger was one of my managers, and he was like, he worked in the club with two other people, Bobby Goodrich and Brian Rosenberg, which Brian manages TK and all that. Okay,
Yeah.
so and he was like, yeah, let's do this. I want to do this. I'll manage you. I want to do that. I said, okay, so let's go for it. And then Michael, started doing a lot of things and stuff like that. Um, you gonna ask me how I came up with the name?
No,
That's
I'm
part,
just.
that's part of the story. Because Michael, at that time, I was supposed to open up for a band called On 2 that was going down to East Asia, whatever, down there somewhere. And it was like, so he had the map out, and there was a guy, Mr. Magic, there, which was a videographer. And he was like, well, we need a name for you. It can't be longer than 7 letters. Tony and Ziada. So Tony, you're going to Asia. You're going down to Asia. So Tony Asia. Now about Tonasia, I was like, okay, like, well, okay, Tonasia. I was like, it's the 80s, who cares? It sticks. And that's how that all started.
Now who's Owen? Owen was the guy that started. Now who was Owen?
So Owen's the one that produced with me Wondering, Games of Love. He also
Yeah.
produced Suave, all
Okay.
Suave hits, Crying Over You and all, Don't Look Back, all the other ones. He also produced another girl called Kelly, who's actually one of the background singers on Tears of Tears with her friend Demarise, who I co-wrote Tears of Tears with.
Was he independent producer or did he work for?
No, he was an independent producer. His father was Landy Soba, who was a Latin producer, salsa production. So he
Okay.
was already into music, and he
Okay.
was looking to break into it. So I was his first little, you know, trial to get going, and it hit.
Wow.
It was just everything is timing. Everything was timing,
100%.
and
What year is
I
this?
was still in high school. I graduated from high school, went straight into college, and during the college years, I got the record deal. So I went
Wow.
to the dean of discipline. Dean, I said, listen, I got this. What should I do? I don't want to leave. He's like, you got a contract. Go sing, go finish school, come back, do what you want, but don't let this opportunity go by. So I
Wow.
took it. My parents supported me. My mother made it very clear from day one. She
That's
goes, "You do
awesome.
this on one condition. The first time you come home drunk or effed up, you're done. Don't
That's
come back. When you broke nights, you're gonna break day." So I was strict, very strict. So that's why I never drank, never did drugs.
yeah.
I never even heard of any of that stuff. Never
You were
smoked.
around it all the time too in the clubs.
Well, back
As
in the 80s, it was horrible because
oh yeah.
you smelled of just and you didn't think about that then, but the damage to your vocals and your lungs. And I'm trying to hit the note, how it lasts this, and I'm like breathing in the smoke. And you're like, hey, I'm singing live. I can't. I'm like dying, And then when that's why I got rid of the hair back then because that you came home, your hair smelled like your whole
Oh,
clothes had to just be taken off and jump straight to the shower. It was just a mess back then. That's
I
smoking.
I used to
Mhm.
DJ the bar scene Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And let me tell you something. Oh, reeked like you wouldn't believe. I used to draw the clothes right down the steps and just leave them there until the next morning. I
Well,
was
I
like,
couldn't go
oh,
in the house. My mother
yeah.
had my clothes outside of the porch. She goes, "You take your shit off here, and then you come in." I don't want to smell because she had a very fine noise. She didn't want to smell that. She was like, "No, no, no, no,
Put it
no."
in a bag. I used to put it in a black bag, right? Throw a couple mothballs in there, or how about a stick up? Remember, this is a
Oh, the
good
stick up.
useful stick up.
Yeah.
What year is this? 88, 89?
The clubs. Well, yeah, because I start when because the release came out of June 8th, 1988. The release, but I was already performing. Doing little places here and there just to get the exposure
Feel.
on the song out there
Yeah,
and promoting it. So I was
yeah.
promoting it the year before, and then when it got signed, I was already boom. I did La Mirage. I did the Roxy was a big thing. Then when
Rocks is huge.
KTU back then, Wondering was really underground. It was on the radio on the Saturday and Friday night dance parties and stuff, and Glenn Fisher and all the other DJs, and they would play it then. But when Games of Love came out, Games of Love got added to KTU right out of the box, out of demo press. It was like boom. And I was actually driving. I was on 95 coming from Connecticut going home, and it said new music this week. Games of Love, Tonasia. I was like, what? I had to pull over to the side because I got so emotional. I was like, oh my god, it's added to rotation, and they were playing it every hour on the hour because it was just banging it out, and then things just skyrocketed from there.
You proved yourself with Wondering. You know,
Oh,
that was
Wondering was such a it's a classic to this day, and people like when
huge.
they hear that and that it still hits hard like it hits that day. And those two songs were done on a synclavier, which it was a piano keyboard type of thing that had all the tracks on there. And at that time, they had one, Prince had one, and Michael Jackson had one. That was it. It was $150,000 keyboard,
Wow.
and only few people had it. I think George Lamond had it too, and he did most of his records were done on that too with Chris
Wow.
Barbosa. Um, that keyboard was amazing, but it was all live instruments playing because the two guys that worked on it was two Greek guys. It was Anthony Alaprentice and Tony Papamichaels. Or was it Tony Alaprentice and Anthony Papamichaels? Either way, they were and they were real musicians. So they played guitar and dun, 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 like rock guitars. So we
Yeah,
were like ahead of our time because I wanted live instruments in there. I wanted that sound so I could put a band behind me and you know recreate when I would perform it. And I did
yeah.
because when I was down south in Louisiana, I had a band with me, and we would tour all down south with the bands. It was a
Wow.
whole different time, and it was amazing. I have a band today. I have depending on the venues, it could be just my drummers, the conga player, timbala player, dancers, or the whole band. Depending on like I said, if it's a big venue, they want to it's a 5, 10,000 people, whatever. That's a different story. You can do that there. Most venues are little clubs. They can't afford it or they can't really put that much in there. So I have a little bit for everybody. That's why I never turn down a show. Be like, oh, you do house parties? I was like, it's if it's a private party. I said, first of all, you're inviting me to your wedding. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? A 50th birthday party, a 25th wedding anniversary. Why the hell not? I'll perform anywhere. It's not
Yeah,
just the clubs. That's why I learned, first of all, always be humble and don't forget where you come from. That's number one. Number two, I never
exactly.
say no to an opportunity where I can showcase myself and share my talents with people and rebuild a memory for them or for myself, in that moment in time. Because it's just like you can remember a song, you hear a song, you're like, oh my God, that was like, I was there 25 years, that was at this party, and everything just starts coming back. So why would I not want to recreate that and do that for somebody?
Listen, listen to me very clearly, people. Tonasia performed in my uncle's club, Jennifer's Cafe on McLean Avenue in Yonkers, probably 1988. Okay, and I remember the way you sounded then when you performed at my 52nd birthday. Okay, last year you sound exactly the same, so you didn't lose anything, my brother. Your
No,
moves, your
I
moves and
appreciate
all.
that.
I love you. let me tell you something. You are amazing.
Well,
When you
I work at it, Lenny. Just I practice every day, and I try to my voice. Okay, so when I sing, it has to come from a happy place. I have a
yeah,
very happy melodic voice, so it's not a
yes, you
voice
do.
that I could I have different registers, different ranges. I can do bass, baritone, tenor. And when I went to
Exactly.
Columbus and I went to audition for the choir there, Dr.
Mhm,
Zizik was like, all right, let me hear you. He's like, la na 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 na. He's like, okay, you're gonna sit right there. And he put me in the bass and baritone section. But
mhm.
every time we were in choir, we'd always do like the harmony notes to the tenors and stuff. And he was like, no, that note, not that note. He's like, because I always wanted to do different things, and I was hearing things. So I have the ear for it. So I'm a pain in the ass to myself. I am my worst critic.
I'm
I'm
the
so
same
hard
way.
on myself
Oh,
sometimes
me too. But
that
that's
even if
good. But that's
yeah,
good. That's good.
and my and Mrs. Burns, my dance teacher in Columbus, told me, you know what, Anthony? She goes, I said, how do you know when it's not there no more? You don't want to do no more. She goes, the time you get on stage, you don't feel those butterflies no more.
Exactly.
And I feel I to this day, it's not scare, it's excitement. It's the
Yep.
adrenaline, it's the butterflies, because I can't wait to get up there and perform it. But I mean, I don't call the people I perform it for are fans. They're family. We grew up. It's almost 40 years. It's 38 years I'm doing this, and still be blessed to do it. Those are family. I've been through their wedding. I've been through their funerals. I've been through all different types of things. I've created different relationships with a lot of these people, and
Yep.
now that's me. What you see is what you get. I'm not something when you're on stage, people don't realize from over here, the fans can see everything. So if you
100%.
come out like you're conceited or stuck up or you got a chip on your shoulder, they can see that because you're transparent when you're up there. People don't realize that. So when
But
people
you,
see me, they're like, you've never changed. You've been the same since you're I said, no, I've never changed. Because
exactly.
my mother made it very clear to me. She goes, don't you ever forget where you came from, and the same people you're meeting up is the same people you're gonna come when you fall on your face.
100%. And I see that all these years. I mean, I know you over 35 years. Of course, I know your cousin very well, Louis Nutrella. Since we're kids. But it's so funny because I had somewhat of a background. I was in the choir in Lincoln High School in 1990. I was a drummer. I played football. I played baseball. I ran for class president. And it's crazy because and I could talk about this. I talked about this with somebody else, but you break danced, right? You
I
busted
said,
your butt.
Boogie used to call me the
Yeah, you did electric boogie. You popped. I said, "Oh, I can't pop too much because my back could be popping with me, right?" But I had the VCR, Van Cortlandt Rockers in Yonkers. I had the break dance, But then you know what? I tried it out. I had a rap group, live and direct, right? We did a dance what do you call it, talent contest. We won. Westchester Community College. We went to a studio. We shot the demo. We weren't as good, but I have to say, how we noticed that we were decent and we have something musically was we went to Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, everywhere, and we performed for families. We performed for families. So we said, listen, if you know, we had some good audiences and we had a good response from the families then okay, because those are your biggest critics, right? And if
Oh
you
yeah.
and if you're good in front of you, especially Italian families, we know how it is. But my friend's family was also they were Puerto Rican, and my friend Ernie Cruz, his sister Missy, could sing her butt off. And I was saying that we would sing "Careless Whisper," and don't ask me how. It was all her. It was all her. And sure enough, we got rounds of applause. So I was like, oh, I have something. And then of course I went from being a roadie for a wedding band, right? DJing, selling my drums, DJ, and then blowing up with the DJ company for 30 something years and doing a party for the president of the United States. So it's just crazy, man, how music is always in you. And I agree with you where it's all about those chills. Because when I used to pack dance floors all over, I would still have those chills. And because I'm hurt now, I can't perform, I can't DJ anymore. It drives me nuts, but I'm able to do something else and give back like you do as well. You know what I mean? kind of have your own platform through my radio station, zazradio.com. But let's talk about so it's Wondering, which is a smash hit. That's a smash hit. It's
Games of
Games
Love.
of Love. You're on 95, another smash hit. Now, three in a row, Tears of Tears. Really?
Tears of Tears was the bad. Tears of Tears had the thing
Yeah,
behind the Tears of
really
Tears
awesome.
record. It was the drums. There's three drum patterns overlapping each other on that thing.
Yeah,
Um, it had a different sound to it. I love the lyrics of it, and to me, I love all my records. Is that one in particular? I mean, Wondering is very special to me because it's my
the
baby.
first.
But
Yeah.
then later on when I did the record Must Be Love, Charlie Rock came to me. He was like, "Oh, I want to do, like, I want you on this record for you. I want you to sing. I think it's perfect." And it came out Metropolitan.
Yeah,
That's
I just
after.
listened to it. I actually heard it before, but I listened to it. The hook is insane. It must be love. It's the hook is insane.
Yeah, and so people, back then, I when I did the songs on Micmac, I
Yeah.
couldn't do all these different things that I want to do on this song. I did all the high backgrounds, all the backgrounds on there. So people are like, "Oh my God, who's that?" It's like, well, that's me and another guy on there. But I'm doing all the high notes behind
Was
me.
there girls? Were there girls' voices also?
No,
Right.
that's me. That was
That's
all.
you.
That's me. All the high notes like that.
Wow. I thought it
Yeah.
was. Wow.
No,
You
those
get
crazy
that
high.
high?
All those. Oh, I can go even. Yeah, I have a
Man.
very. So in my falsetto register, there's different registers. So
Wow.
yeah.
You must have squeezed the coyote a little.
No.
Oh, Maron me. Wow.
Mariah. No, it's Mariah.
80s, 90s were amazing. When you think of late 80s and 90s, what comes to mind? What do you think about? I mean, I think about.
I
I
think about being part of that whole musical journey, be part of that era.
Yeah.
Because I loved R&B, so I listened to a lot of R&B back then.
Oh wow.
So like Tina Marie and Rick James, Luther Vandross, Patti LaBelle, Anita Baker. I mean, all those people back in that era, like the Gap Band, the Lionel Richie, the Commodores.
Oof.
So many.
Heavy hitters.
Stacey Lattisaw. I was big into roller skating because I was always at Skate Keys. So when Stacey Lattisaw came out with Let Me Be Your Angel and Love on a Two-Way Street and then I got to
Oh
perform with her. That's the thing. So
wow.
even though I'm an artist, I'm also a big fan of all these artists. So when I
Yeah.
get to share the stage with them, it's like, wow. Like I used to listen to you, and I used to. So I'm very blessed. I'm very lucky.
Love on a two-way street and lost it on the highway. Oh my! Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
That that's like epic. That's like
I performed with her in Heartthrobs. Um,
really.
yeah, and when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, there she is. I was like, there's her. And she's such a sweetheart. And when she sang it, I was like, wow. Here I am roller skating and skating, and she's singing it right there in front of me. I'm like, it's.
I was there back in the day at Wheels as well. We had the New York City Breakers, Rocksteady
Yeah,
Crew, Mr. Wave.
I was good friends with Mr. Wave. he used
Oh,
to he used to be at all Kuriaki, Crazy Legs, all of them. We used to
Crazy
be
Legs,
all.
yeah.
Yeah, and still to this day, Crazy Leg is still doing stuff, and it's amazing, and just be part of that era, and to know that I was there, and I honed in my skills, and I never took anything for granted. If you did something I didn't know how to do, I wanted to learn how to do that and make it my own and put my flavor to it, and so I'm just. The '80s were the '80s. There will never be another '80s. The music in the '80s
Exactly.
were killer. And then you host the rock bands, Bon Jovi and all these other people that
Yeah.
were back then, so
You know
it's
what? That term Guido, right?
no
It was
Greedo.
meant it was meant for us Italians, right? But it was freestyle music in the 90s that fueled the fire. The IROC Z, the Cavaricis, the Dakar, Aqua di Gio. So yes, I think if you were Latin, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Arab, Albanian, Irish, Indian,
Well,
you
that was the
received
thing. So growing up
you
in the Bronx, I grew up with
yeah,
all of that.
me
So they
too.
didn't know what I was. They
African
thought I was
American,
Puerto Rican and Italian. They marketed me as
yeah,
that. I had tons of Albanian friends, Dominican friends.
Yep.
I mean, you name it. That was I
Yep.
grew up with.
Oh, I
We did a
mean,
lot of
you want
shows
to
out in
talk?
Seaside. It was crazy back then. They would rent us a beach house, and we would be there
Yeah.
for like the whole month or the whole 2 weeks or whatever, and we do
Wow.
shows every night here. Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's just crazy. Rest 3 days, back to doing shows. It's just nuts.
Because freestyle was Latin, Italian, and then it just became so versatile. You know what I mean? And just everybody got involved, which is beautiful. Like India, right? I mean, there were so many Spanish artists, Italian artists,
Oh yeah,
and
Brenda Kay. I mean,
just
so many artists that I grew up with
amazing,
back then that we all had
amazing.
this dream of doing something, and here we are. No, you had a lot of different people. It's crazy the amount of people that were jumping in, but the
What
talent
was
was incredible.
your favorite performance? Do you have one? You got to have one, right? And who you performed with?
Wow. Um, Favorite.
I
I
know
guess
it's not on the list.
the ones that were very special to me were the
Yeah.
ones that were live on KTU that were broadcast live.
Oh
So
wow.
from Palladium, from
Oh,
the
oh, oh.
Roxys,
Wow.
those were huge venues, and those big acts that at that time. Oh my God, I performed with all types of people. Like remember Regina, Baby Love,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Baby Love. So
yeah.
I performed with her one time, and
Wow.
I loved her. She's amazing. So many. I mean, listen, there's so many artists that come to mind, but the lives on K2 were the most special to me because you had to have your shit together and you had to be on point. You're live on the radio. Everybody's
Mhm.
listening to you. They might be able to see you, but they can hear you. So you have to make sure your shit was on point. So
And you really couldn't edit it back then. Yeah, you
no,
couldn't.
it was that wasn't that was that's what I'm saying. It's a
Yeah,
time that you had to know what you were doing. You had to work at your craft. You had to hone in on what you wanted to do, and there was no half stepping. It's either you had it or you don't. That's one thing
yep.
about music. There's no middle. There's either right or it's wrong. There's just you got to it's that's why today I tell people all the time. I said, you think you would have that or that would happen if you didn't have all this social media today?
Oh, 100%. 100%. If you
You know,
didn't
I,
choose this, if you didn't choose this for yourself, what would have you done or chose to do for a living? What did you always want to do prior to singing and being a
Well,
kid?
I had different. I listen. I had all different types of job. I worked at my friend's pizzeria, my family's restaurant. I mean, I've done a lot of different things.
Sure.
Um, there's nothing I really didn't like to do because I was trying to learn everything I could.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, like I said, I mean, the job I love the most is what I do to this day is helping the elderly, with
Yeah.
Alzheimer's dementia, psych patients that I work with, geriatric population, young adults that are quadriplegics that are paralyzed from the neck down.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, that's the most gratifying for me. I mean, I loved all the other stuff I did. Don't get me wrong, singing in church, pizza
Mhm.
man,
Mhm.
sewing, cutting hair, doing this, doing that. But I mean, the most thing I love is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean,
I mean,
you're talking about.
don't forget, I taught, I worked for Gold's Gym. I ran three of them back in the
Oh, did
days. I
you?
was the aerobic director. I taught
Oh, wow.
21 classes a week. I had live DJs in my club, in the club, in my class. There was a line on the corner. I taught master classes for an hour and a half. I
Wow.
mean, we had from step to Johnny G spinning to aerobics, high low impact, and then it became Planet Fitness, and I continued doing that for a while. Then I never, even though I was singing, singing music's great, and it's like a roller coaster. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. So when you're down, what are you gonna do? Sit home and twiddle your thumbs? I couldn't do that. I had to do something because my parents brought me up a certain way, and so I just couldn't sit on my ass, and so I had to
But
do what I
that's
had
not
to
you.
do.
That's not your disposition. That's just not
No,
Anthony
I had too
Annunziata.
much that I wanted to learn. There was too much that I wanted to
Yeah.
do and find out about. So I always got doing stuff and meeting people that taught me stuff, and I'm very grateful for that. But I love what I do, so I.
Isn't it great to be educated? You know what I mean? To step out of a meeting, to step out of just a conversation, say, "Wow, I didn't know that." I just find that so humbling and such a great experience. Wherever
It's
you
all
are.
the thing is to be able to juggle both life.
Yeah.
You know, you're 1 minute performing in front of 10, 15,000 people. The next minute you're at your desk working at work and you're like, I got to get my shit hit because we got a care plan coming in. This person's parents is giving up. So it's like, you know, when you're meeting with the doctors, the nurses, the speech therapists, the OT, the PT, all these people. And it's like,
Mm.
you're involved in a very serious, in a thing there. So it's
Yeah.
kind of being able to, balance both worlds.
But you know what it is? It's giving back each and every day. And at the end of the day, knowing that you had a good day and it was productive, and knowing
Oh,
that
that's one thing I love because I know I make a difference in people's lives,
that's
and
it.
that's why I can't stay home. I'm always call me last minute. Can you come in? Can you cover? Yeah, I'm there. Don't worry about it. They work around my schedule. I'm very blessed and grateful for that. They know who I am. When they see this stuff, they like, oh my god, it's like two different people. I can't. So when they come to my shows, they're like, how do you do that? It's
Yeah.
like, how do you do that? I was like, I don't know. It's in me. It's who I am.
How long have you been doing that?
The nursing home hospital thing.
Yeah.
Oh God, since in the 90s,
Wow. That's so awesome.
96.
That's awesome, Tony. That's
Yeah,
really
since
that's really
96, I think I got into that.
that's so awesome.
But you know what? But God set me up without realizing it because when I did that,
Mm.
when my mother later on got Alzheimer's dementia, I
Oh.
was able to handle that situation. I gave up everything and went to her side and
Mhm.
took care of her to her last breath. I
Mhm.
was able to do that for them and my father
Yeah.
too. If I didn't have the skill set and I didn't have the that being in that environment is
Yeah.
not an easy thing to deal with.
Sure.
That's why I try to help people that are going through that, or friends of mine that are going through that now, or certain people. And yes, listen, I know this how you gotta do it. This you gotta step back and look at the whole thing. Don't because people go through different anger, acceptance. Why this? Why me? Why is God doing? It becomes all over the place. So I
Yeah.
try to keep people focused, and I try to explain to them, listen, this is how it's gonna go. This is how it's gonna happen. You gotta prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. Because I mean, for me, it was the hardest thing. I'm watching my mother deteriorate in front of my eyes.
Sorry
The
to hear
doctor
that.
gave her basically not even 2 years to live. She lived another 7 years with me. Why?
Wow.
Because I redirected her with music.
Of
So
course.
when she there's a thing called sundowning. So when they sundown, they get very agitated. The demeanor in their face changes. So when that was, my mother was not a nasty person. She didn't have that in her bones. She was a very
Yeah.
happy. But the music is what kept her going. She
Wow.
was soon as I see her, I was like, Mom, we're gonna play piano. I'll play the piano for hours. She played a tambourine with me or a little whatever. And she'd be involved. I would set up her day like it was one of my patients, like a care plan. She had to meet certain goals. She had to do so I would get up, we were making bread, making cookies. We're not making
Mhm.
shit. Or like, folding laundry. I would cut up a bunch of towels, put
Uh,
them in a basket, and I would take it by me. Say, hey, Mike, can I help you put this together? Okay. And she folded up, and that was 10 times. So not everybody can do this, Lenny, but you know what? I've learned how to do all this in all the years that I'm working. And that's what kept her going. I did not acknowledge what she had, even though I know I could stop slow down the process, but I can't stop it and I can't make it disappear. So the hardest thing is watching somebody betray that you love so much, and
yeah.
you know it's coming, you know it's happening because it's different stages, and you're like, you know, what am I gonna do? I know better, so am I gonna hurt myself
Yeah.
to be angry and be? So I just did the best that I can do.
Are
Make
they? Let
sure.
me ask. Are they off and on? I mean, the condition is, full force. But is there a moment where they know where they are and you could get to
No,
them?
there's different stages of it. So
Okay.
in the beginning, it's like either my mother didn't remember anything you told her right now, but she remembered everything from when she was a child.
There you go.
Some people are different; it's opposite.
Okay.
So it depends.
All
It
depends.
depends on the person and
Gotcha.
how aggressive and how at what stage you go. Some advance very quickly. Some takes longer. But I mean, to the point that they forget how to go to the bathroom, they forget how to feed to the
Oh
point
wow.
that they forget how to breathe, and they just pass away.
Tell
And
everyone. I'm sorry. Again.
no, good.
No, I just wanted to try to keep it positive and
Oh
but
no, it's positive. I just it's part of my life. I don't
being
regret anything.
respectful. Yeah, but be tremendously respectful
Well, I
on
walked. Understand something. I walked away from my professional job, and I walked away from my music career. I gave up everything to take care of them, and I felt that's the least I can do for everything they've
yeah,
done for me. People thought I was crazy. I don't think so. I think I did the right thing,
yeah,
and look how God is blessing me now. I'm
yeah.
on
You
three
know what?
different tours. I'm traveling all over the world. They're blessing
Unbelievable.
me from upstairs over there. They're looking down on me,
No doubt
and
about it.
so I can sleep at night with a clean conscience. I did my duty as a son. I honored my mother and my father. So
That's our
and that's
job.
part of what I take to me when I go on stage now. So now it's like a whole different type of show. It's at a whole different level.
It's so beautiful when you talk about that. I mean, like I lost my dad in March, and it's wow. You know what I mean? And I'm close with my mom. I'll always be a mama's boy. I don't want to,
Well,
and
me too. And Italian family, you're very
yeah,
close with your family. I was
tremendous.
never away from my family.
Yeah, yeah.
There was no such thing. You turn 18, get the hell out of my house.
No,
That didn't happen. So
well, well, listen. What we get. We always, you live in your mother's basement, your father's basement. It's always, hey, listen. Yeah, I'll live there as long as I want. But of course, but that's not the case, as you
that's
well
just
know.
part of the heritage. It's part of the upbringing. It's just a whole different thing.
It's just that it is. It really is. But I have to tell you, there are a lot of ethnicities and cultures are the same way.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. I met a
and
whole bunch of them.
and we can relate to them tremendously. So it's like crazy, especially with the food thing. Are you
But
eating
no,
this?
listen.
You're not eating this,
The
are you?
Albanians have the same thing. The oldest
Yes,
son takes care of the mother, the father. They
yes,
move in with them. The
100%.
Jewish, the people. I mean, it's all the different Latin cultures. I mean, it's.
Yeah,
Well, listen, we all come from one. We're all in it together. We all come from the same place. So
we're so it's everything we talk about is amazing because it's so relatable. Everybody could relate to this stuff, especially our age, around the 80s, the 90s. We grew up. And, one thing I was talking to Shannon about, my fiance, and of course, Joseph, our son, heard about it as well. But it's just how freestyle is back, alive, and kicking. It never left, but it is full frontal right now, and it's amazing. You know what Shannon actually said? She's like, Len, you know what? Everybody's retired. And they can enjoy themselves now. So, if they have
oh,
money to spend, and guess what? They'll
yeah,
have them at a pool party in the backyard and everything.
oh yeah.
I'm like, good, because that's what they should do. It keeps everything alive. Look at you. Look at the shows that you're going to be putting on and you have put on and all the. Listen, I don't think any of the artists missed the beat. They all sound exactly the way they used to.
A
They're
lot,
unbelievable.
a lot of us, are still the whole crew from back in my time. That whole
Unbelievable.
legends or whatever you want to call us, that
Yeah.
we're all still rocking and rolling all different
Yeah.
places.
And you
You
look
know,
unbelievable. Guys, gals, you all look great. And you're still moving your butts. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. We're moving. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah, well, listen, I know your shoulder hurts, your back hurts, your hips
I
hurt.
keep boogieing. I keep doing my thing. I got to keep moving.
But tell everyone something they would like to know that they don't know already about you, Tonasia. Come on, Tony.
Well,
What's
probably
this?
about the cooking and baking and the sewing and all that stuff. No,
I knew you were going to
nobody
say
really
that.
knows about that.
But as you said, when you grow up with a mom that did it and family, and you were part of that, you have no choice. You got to fend for yourself.
No,
You know
you
what I mean?
had no choice. You
Yep,
had to get up and you had to do your chores and you had to get up.
yep,
Hey, get up and do this. Hey, get up and do that. I'm coming home from work. I'm tired. You're gonna make sure this is ready before I get home. Whatever.
exactly.
You did what you had to do.
What are
And
you
I'm
up
very
to
blessed because
now?
I'm glad that I know how to do everything I do because I see people today can't even cook eggs. Like
Yeah. What are you up to now? Of course, you're available for private parties, for all occasions, and again, you put on an amazing show. And You just
Thank
don't
you.
play. You hang out. You eat. Maron, you eat. You talk. You sign
Well,
autographs.
that's one thing I do. At all the clubs I still do. I still bring pictures and posters. I give out CDs. I
Yeah,
think that's the least I can do. I like to know my fans and family and hang out with
yeah.
them. And then they tell me all the wonderful stories of how my certain songs affected them in certain ways in their life and what it done for them. So I love listening to all of that stuff. I like taking time out doing that.
So I remember a story that you told me. I'm sure you have a million stories, which are
Oh my God.
absolutely awesome. But I remember you said that Games of Love you wrote on the beach
I wrote it. So Games of Love, I wrote it in Miami.
in
'Cause-
Miami Beach, right?
yeah, South Beach. We were
Yeah,
there for the Music Winter Conference.
yeah, I
And
remember.
I wrote it there, and I was at the Marriott Oceanfront, and it was my first time there. It was just so special and beautiful, and everything I saw was like wow. It was like everything was like so much brighter and
Yeah,
greener and bluer, and was so I was like wow, look at this. Well, because in New York at that time was fucking winter, so of course everything you come out of winter to go there is like whoa. So I wrote everything I saw at that point. I wrote about the ocean, the bird singing lullaby. It wasn't a bird; it was a pelican that stopped on my freaking patio outside the balcony, and he's
yeah,
up there on the thing going whatever he was like making a sound with his mouth. So whatever I saw, people walking by, palm trees sway as a breeze, whatever I saw, I wrote about.
yeah. And I remember you saying that. That was a while ago. You told me this, and just where, like,
You remember all that shit, huh?
I remember that. And crazy enough, and I'm going to tell you because men, we're very visual, but every time I hear Games of Love, I think of that. I think of you on the
and
beach,
And the song was a huge hit in Pound 96 in Miami. That shit was, I was there
huge.
performing every 2 weeks. I was in Miami performing all over the place.
So that's something that I mean, I something about me is everything and anything has to have some significance to it.
Hmm.
Whether it's putting tattoos on me, but something that that hits you, and that's something that, like, I mean, Wondering. I know where I was when I heard Wondering. I was in Seaside Heights. I was 16 years old, 17 years old. I remember it. We were
Wow.
on. We were partying on a lawn. We were partying on a lawn. The same thing with Tears of Tears. I remember, and those are the things that you want people to after a show to come up to you and say, "Oh my God, I remember your song Wondering. I remember Games of Love. I remember what I was doing, you know." And when I heard it the first time, and it's just an amazing feeling for an artist. It must be awesome.
Oh
So
yeah, the feeling is unbelievable when you hear everybody sing your song on back to you on stage or you're somewhere. Like back in the days, I would go to the beach and I was like, I didn't mind hanging out because I didn't look at myself anything special. But you would hear your song coming on the beach, you're like, oh my God. Like if they only knew I'm like laying down right over here getting the sun.
listen, let's go back 2 seconds. And listen, I thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the
You're
interview.
welcome.
I love you, brother. Um, but let's go back just a little bit. So you shop Wondering, right? And you got it, basically produced, and you shopped it, and now also it's on the radio, right? Now with Games of Love, you just basically did the same thing, or just because you said you were shocked when you're on 95 and you heard Games of
97.
Love.
It was 1035. Um well
So how'd
because
that happen? Take
because
us
that
back.
was just it was a demo one day and it was going it was being test pressed to give out to the DJs.
There you go.
So
Gotcha.
the the DJs loved it, that Mickey would go up to KTU and he would like hit records and I guess listen to the test pressing. That one jumped out at them. They added it right away. I was very lucky.
So
I mean, listen,
the timing
the
aspect of it, yeah,
timing and the stars aligned, and I
yeah.
guess back then it was Kevin McCabe and Joe Sakowitz that were the program directors there, I believe, and they heard something they liked, and
Now, I'm dying to know this. Wow, and it just came to me. How many songs in rotation on Hot 97 or KTU? 100?
What do you mean? I don't
What
follow.
would you say? Like, you know how you heard those songs always over and over again?